Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everyone. Make sure you look into Luma Blue. Just a really cool story. Great products from a family-owned company out of Newport. It's one of my favorite things to do is be able to bring that kind of info to you here on GPS. But we're also lucky enough to be joined by this guy. We got Steve Leonard. And Steve, I mentioned this here. You're like the white rabbit, dude. You're hard to get with. You're always out hunting. You're out fishing. You're out working out. You're all over the place. But right now, we got you underneath on a Mother's Day. So, by the way, thank you for taking the time, Steve. We appreciate it. But how have things been for you this spring Chinook season?
Man, it's been busy. The time of the year that's one of our busiest times, especially when you're in the peak season like it is right now. So we've been busy. Now,
are you exclusively chasing springers right now, or are you chasing anything else?
No, I'm chasing a walleye up east. Believe it or not, some catch and release sturgeon, the Willamette, that's been really good.
Yeah.
Kind of mark that, and I get groups of guys that come in for 2 or 3 days, so we kind of change it up. One day we're salmon, one day we're walleye, or we're doing the catch and release sturgeon fishery.
Yeah.
Just kind of bounce it just to fill the days.
I love that. You know, that's one of the best parts about you, Steve, is everybody's well known that you're extremely well versed. You're always doing something a little bit different than everyone else. So let me break it down, or let's break it down. When you're chasing springers, are you fishing the Willamette? Are you up east? What do you do? Both? What are you doing?
Well, early on, I was on the Willamette. I actually did the Multnomah Channel until the dam counts got up, and then obviously I went up to Drano and the Wind River. I do more Drano at this time of the year because the dam counts and the fishing's good, you know.
Sure.
A lot of my a little bit easier fishery for me as far as suspended fisheries and stuff like that. But it's the peak time to be up there.
Yeah.
And favorite fishery? Absolutely not. You know, so it's just one of those things that you just got to go up there and grind it out and have patience, and everybody works together. It's a good time.
And then when you've already mentioned this, but when you're doing the catch and release sturgeon, you're spending your time on the Willamette. Have they been hard to find this time of year?
You know, they were early for me on, but now they weren't. I actually found them in some shallower water, some calmer water. The water got murky and muddy, which I really, really like for sturgeon.
Yeah.
It was kind of, and they're jumping everywhere down by the Toyota hole, and I couldn't get in. They just wouldn't bite, but I ran back up by Swan Island up in that area, and they were just biting like crazy. So it's kind of weird how it happens like that, but you just got to move around and find the right bait. Smelt was the hot bait, which I have a bunch in my freezer from previous years and stuff, and it's a good way to get rid of them because usually we don't have the hot bait anywhere we go, but now we don't have those fisheries, so I got a lot of it in my freezer.
Well, that's good. It's a great way to put smiles on your client's face and burn bait, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's move to the other one. Again, this is one of the reasons why I love to talk to Steve. He's doing a lot of different things. He can cover a lot of ground. Walleye, you mentioned on the east side. Obviously, there's a lot of fisheries on the east side, especially on the other side of Bonneville Dam to chase walleye. Is there areas that you've been focusing in on, specific parts of the Columbia that you're spending your time to chase walleye this time of year?
Well, it varies from the time of the year, like you're talking about, from the pre-spawn when they're closer to the dams, and more they're going into post-spawn right now. So I'm farther down below the John Day, and then obviously in June you want to go to Boardman. That's a really good area in June. You know, when there's not as much winds, if you get between the windy days, that's where those fish have moved down from the McNary area. They're down in that area, and it's just a fantastic fishery. So it just depends on the time of the year, where they're at, where you can go. Try to stay away from the crowds. There's a lot more fishing pressure on the walleye nowadays. Probably 90% of my customers that I fish or book at the sportsman, so they want to come out one time just to learn that fishery.
Right.
So there's a lot more coming on to them. There's a zero limit, which I don't agree with. It's one of the best sport fisheries we have. Mm-hmm. It's a flavor of the Columbia River. Have you ever had a fish walleye taco? So there's a lot to it that I release the big females. I mean, I know the fishing game doesn't agree with that, but that's just what I think needs to be done to keep this fishery going.
Yeah, we can do what the heck we want. They might go ahead and try to wipe out one of the best fisheries we have, which is, by the way, I disagree with wholeheartedly, just like what Steve is mentioning here. It's a fishery that is absolutely viable and 100% fun. And by the way, arguably one of the best eating fish that you're ever going to catch.
Yeah, by far.
No doubt about it. All right, so you're chasing some springers right now. You mentioned suspended fishing, Drano. You know, a lot of my viewers, they're not going to go to Drano, but things are going to change. We got summer Chinook fishing that's coming. I know that you chase summer steelhead as well. What are you looking forward to as we move into June and then July?
You know, I really enjoyed the summer Chinook fishing, which is obviously going to be short this year. I love anchoring up with the Brad's Killer Fish or your quick fish lures. That's just a fantastic fish. I love sitting on anchor. It's very relaxing, and there's nothing like a fish hitting one of those plugs, you know, when they're on that rod holder. So that summer steelhead is one of my favorite. Short, sunny weather. tough fighting fish, especially if you're in the Cowlitz and North Fork of the Lewis River, where I target those fish at. Cold water from coming out of those dams in the bottom of them reservoirs, and it's just a fantastic time. I don't think there's anything funner than catching a steelhead on a light lamb glass rod.
I would agree wholeheartedly. It's the reason why we've chased them for so many years, and we've lost a lot of those fisheries, but there still are opportunities. And if you're lucky enough to get out with Steve, I highly recommend it if you haven't targeted summer steelhead before. Steve, I'm already out of time. You know this game. We burn time quickly. What's it looking like for you as we get into that summer Chinook, summer steelhead, and then, of course, moving into fall Chinook fishing? What's the availability like? Or if you want to get out and do some walleye fishing, everyone, like he mentioned, to do something that maybe you haven't done before. You got any openings? You booked solid? What's the routine right now for you?
I got some openings because that summer Chinook fishery is going to be short. June, I got some openings. July, I got some openings. My buoy 10's pretty full. I got maybe a couple days. September, I got more days for fall fishing back up home towards Portland and up east farther. So there's still some dates available, and book the date, and that way we can get you locked in on those good dates, as the peak seasons go along for the years to come.
Steve, it's way too short of a time. I'd love to get you back in my studio. This is literally one of the guys that if I had to disappear for a week or two, that I would allow to host my show. He is that talented, is that knowledgeable. I love the guy. If you get a chance to do it, get out there with him. Steve, have a good Mother's Day for you and your family, and be safe when you get on the water, man. I can't wait to see you out there again.
Yeah, thank you, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And thanks to my sponsors, Lamb and Glass Rods, Procure Bait, Sans Brad's Killer Fish, and Gear, and Beckman Nets, and Fisherman's Marine Supply. I can't thank those guys, and they do a lot for our sport fisheries. So support those people.
Man, we are absolutely tied in together more than I thought, dude. That's all my sponsors. Real close. Not Lamb and Glass. I love Lamb and Glass, so don't get me wrong. Hey, take care, Steve. It's great to see you, man. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Take care, partner. All right, we're going to cut to a break. When we come back, we got your Pike Minnow reward numbers for you. See where you should be to catch more fish and make more money. We'll be right back.